Chinese New Year is the biggest and most important holiday in Chinese culture, also known as the Spring Festival or Lunar New Year. It is celebrated in China and many overseas Chinese communities around the world. It marks the beginning of spring in the traditional Chinese lunisolar calendar and usually falls on the new moon that appears between January 21 and February 20. Days before the event, families prepare by cleaning and decorating their homes. This practice is done to make sure the house is rid of the previous year's dust and is ready to receive the blessings and good fortune of the new year. This cleaning work usually starts 2 days before the Lunar New Year. In Cantonese, there's even a saying, Ninya ba, sai lata, which means on lunar December 28, people clean. To make everything look more festive, every house is decorated with the season's favorite color, bright red, red lanterns, Chinese knots, spring festival couplets, Fu character pictures, and red paper cuts fill every window and doorway, walls, and ceiling. And after all these preparations, they do some shopping for gifts that are to be given to friends and family over the next few days during their reunion. This tradition is so important that the government declares it a 7-day public holiday, starting from lunar January 1 to January 7. And on lunar January 8, when people go back to work, everyone will get a big hongbao from the boss. Many communities also organize shows and events for everyone to enjoy. Traditionally, celebrations begin on the eve of Spring Festival, also known as Chuxi, and spans 15 days, ending with the Lantern Festival, Yuan Zhao Jie. The centerpiece of the festivities is undoubtedly held at home during the traditional reunion dinner, Nian Ye Fan. To many Chinese people, this is perhaps the most important meal of the year. It is a time to celebrate reuniting with family members, recognizing achievements, and hoping for an abundant and harmonious year ahead. This dinner is so important that millions of Chinese people will brave through arduous journeys just to make it home for New Year's Eve. To understand the importance of the Spring Festival, let us trace the origins of this unique holiday. There are many legends surrounding the Spring Festival. One of the most popular stories is about the monster beast called Nian. Depending on who's telling the story, the Nian either came from the mountains or the sea. During winter, when food was scarce, it would raid villages in the middle of the night and eat the crops and livestock. Sometimes it would eat the villagers themselves, particularly little children. The Nian would terrorize people every year, and all they could do was hide and hope they survive. One day, before another impending attack, an old man appeared in the village with a way to defeat the Nian. He told the people that the Nian fears 3 things: the color red, fire, and loud noises. Because of this, the villages started covering their houses with red paper, hanging red scrolls and red lanterns. They even wore red clothes. When the Nian was about to attack, they lit torches, beat on drums, and set off firecrackers. The commotion confused and frightened the Nian, which went off scampering back to the mountains. The people rejoiced at their victory as they finally vanquished the dreaded beast. From then on, it became a tradition to decorate houses with red and make loud noises during the new year. The villagers lived a happy and peaceful life, never to be bothered by the Nian again.
So because of the story of the Nian, another way of saying New Year is 过年. 过 means to go through, and then Nian. So to go through the monster Nian, to survive through the monster Nian.
In Chinese legends, Nian is the monster. 过年 means past the monster. So 过年好 means after passing the monster, everything will be good. That is why the Chinese people mostly use 过年好 as the greetings of the Spring Festival.
So the word Spring Festival comes from the actual Chinese name of the holiday, which is 春节, literally meaning Spring Festival. Is the Spring Festival still relevant to the multitude of people? Definitely. Spring Festival is like the most important holiday in Chinese culture. Imagine Christmas, New Year, Thanksgiving combined. That's how important it is.
The Chinese New Year has enjoyed a history of more than 4,000 years. Its exact beginning is not recorded. Some people believe that Chinese New Year originated in the Yaoshun time, when people held sacrificial ceremonies in honor of gods and ancestors at the beginning or at the end of each year. The origins of the Spring Festival can be traced to various agricultural celebrations during ancient times. Many would celebrate the end of harvest or the end of winter, with practices to express thanksgiving to the heavens, their masters, or to the land. These prototype festivals would eventually be consolidated in subsequent dynasties, starting with the Han Dynasty from 202 BC to 220 AD.
The Chinese zodiacs is related to Chinese ancient time recording system, which is called 天之地干. Actually, in English we can say it's heavenly stones and earthly branches. The ancient people used 天之地干 to record the year, month, days, and also hours. But although it's very standard and also universal, it's hard for normal people to record, to memorize it. So the normal people thinking of to use the animals to represent 天之地干. In 1940, the governments of the Republic of China decided to move the Chinese New Year to Western calendar January 1st. And after that, almost for 20 years, the governments have trying to move all the celebration for New Year's to Western calendar January 1st. But the people just wanted to keep all the traditional celebrations and activities still in lunar January 1st. So you can see how powerful the traditional culture and the power of the people.
Back then, the celebration was called Yuan Dan, or First Day, and fell on the second new moon after the winter solstice of the traditional Chinese calendar. After the adoption of the Gregorian calendar in 1912, Yuan Dan was set to January 1st, and the Chinese New Year was called Chunjie, or Spring Festival. What exactly is the Chinese calendar, and why it is important in Chinese culture? In the Chinese language, the Chinese calendar is called Nongli, or farming calendar. It is a calendar that uses the movements and positions of the sun and moon as reference for calendar calculations. For example, the time between one new moon to the next is a month. So, this makes a Chinese month around 1 to 2 days shorter than a month in the Gregorian calendar. In some years, a leap month is added to make up for the difference. Since the Chinese calendar is a farming calendar, it is used to help farmers schedule when to plant and harvest their crops. They determine that whenever the earth moves 15 degrees around the sun, which is roughly about 15 days, changes happen in the weather and nature. This 15-day period was called a solar term, Jia Qi, which marks seasons, solstices, and equinoxes. After 24 solar terms, the cycle repeats again, thus also determining the length of a year. The Spring Festival, therefore, is usually in between the last solar term, Daihan, meaning the Great Cold, and Li Shan, or the start of spring. On the Chinese calendar, each year is represented by an animal on the Chinese zodiac. These 12 animals supposedly represent the attributes of a particular year or the person born in that year. This coming Spring Festival of 2022, it will be the Year of the Tiger. There are many legends regarding the origins of these 12 animals, but the most popular story is related to the great race organized by the Jade Emperor.
Once upon a time when the world didn't have a means to tell time, the Jade Emperor, the ruler of the heaven, said, Okay, I'm going to make a calendar with a 12-year cycle, and tomorrow I invite all the animals to a great race. The first 12 animals to cross the river will have a year named after them. The animals were so excited, particularly the cat and the mouse. The cat and the mouse back then were close friends. The cat said to the mouse, "I am a very heavy sleeper. Can you please wake me up tomorrow so that I won't miss this race?" The mouse said, "Sure thing." And so they slept. Tomorrow came, and the mouse, in his hurry, forgot to wake up the cat. The mouse went on and raced to the river, and at the river, he found out that he's too small to cross. He's too small to swim across the river. He found an ox, and he asked the ox, "Can I hitch a ride on your back?" The ox, being a kind-hearted animal, said, "Okay, sure, I'll help you cross the river." And so they crossed the river, and as the ox was about to emerge at the other side, the mouse leapt off his head, making him the first to finish the race. The ox, being kind-hearted that he is, said, "Okay, that's fine, I'll just take second place." Coming in third is the tiger, who was powerful enough to cross the river on his own. Third one was the rabbit. The rabbit found some stones on the river and hopped one stone to another in order to cross to the other side. The fifth animal was the dragon. The Jade Emperor was curious and wondered why such a powerful, strong animal who can fly only came in at fifth place. The dragon said, "Well, when I was on my way, I saw a village that was on fire, and so I wanted to help them, and I made it rain." With that story, the Jade Emperor was very pleased. Coming in sixth was the horse. But as the horse was about to emerge from the river, a snake hiding in his mane leapt out and slithered across the finish line, making him sixth. The startled horse came trotting in at seventh. Now, across the river, there were three animals left: the rooster, the monkey, and the goat. The rooster found a raft and said to the other two, "Let's ride the raft across the river." And so they did. They successfully arrived at the other side, and the monkey and the rooster said, "Oh, the goat was very kind to us on the way, so let's give her 8th place." The monkey went in at 9th, and then the rooster at 10th. Then coming in at 11 was the dog. The dog wouldn't have been so late if he hadn't been distracted by the river itself. As it turns out, the dog was having so much fun playing in the water, and so he ended up at 11th. Then coming at last is the pig. So the pig was trotting along the way and felt very hungry, so he stopped by for a snack. And he was also too lazy to cross the river by swimming, and he decided to just float, and that's why he came in at 12. And so the 12 animals are now complete. Everybody was happy. What about the cat? So the cat woke up too late. He found out that the race was over by the time he woke up. And because of this, the cat resented the mouse so very much. To this day, cats and mice are mortal enemies.
Today, the Spring Festival is no longer just a farming-related holiday. It has become a massive cultural event that spans several days over many places. Families use this time to get together and celebrate their successes. Many couples use this time to formally introduce their partners and fiancés to their parents. Others also take advantage of this time to travel and enjoy the festivities overseas. The Spring Festival is not only celebrated in mainland China, but also observed in Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, Mongolia, Vietnam, Singapore, the Philippines, and some other Asian regions and countries, as well as Chinatowns around the world, making it a truly international event and one of the world's most celebrated festivals.
Spring Festival just around the starting of the spring. That's why the Chinese people call the lunar January 1st as the Spring Festival. There are totally 56 ethnic groups in China. Not only Han, the main ethnic groups, celebrate the Spring Festival, but most of the rest of other ethnic groups also celebrate the Spring Festival, but in different traditional ways of themselves. So the Spring Festival is related like the multicultural and multiple ethnic groups diversity in China.
So, in modern China, the Spring Festival is not just a celebration of culture and family reunions, but is also a diverse cultural integration. In 2022, the 24th Winter Olympics will be held in Beijing on February 4, at the height of the Spring Festival festivities. This is a symbol of mutual respect, influx, and integration of both Western and Eastern cultures. An expectation of beautiful harmony and a prosperous future, and a grand culture communication and integration. In our next episode,